Here are 30 secrets you missed in Resident Evil 1 Remake. Number 1. In early versions of the remake, the Spencer Mansion's main hall looked slightly different. Instead of having a doorway that leads to the cemetery, there was originally a window in its place. It's a small change, but it shows how much the design evolved before release. Number 2. Jill became the first character in the franchise to wield an electric defense weapon, which allowed players to escape deadly grabs from zombies with ease. This mechanic was later reused with Alyssa Ashcroft in Resident Evil Outbreak, showing just how influential the remake was in pushing gameplay ideas forward. Number 3. In early versions of this game, Jill was planned to have extra melee combat abilities which included punches and kicks. Ultimately, director Shinji Mikami decided to leave this out, as he didn't want to make the game too action-focused. Number 4. The herbicide used against the plant bioweapon contains a hidden message in Japanese on its label. It reads Code Veronica mo yoroshiku ne, which translates to Buy Code Veronica in English. Number 5. George Trevor, the architect of the Spencer Mansion, is one of the remake's most important lore additions, and believe it or not, he was originally supposed to appear in the 1996 game through a subplot. However, time constraints forced Capcom to cut it entirely. In the remake, Trevor's story finally comes to light through scattered diary entries, showcasing his descent into despair as he realizes he's been tricked by Umbrella and left to die in the very traps he designed. Number 6. Among Jill Valentine's alternate outfits, one stands out for a very specific reason. Her tactical gear, complete with goggles and a combat-ready look, is a direct nod to Sarah Connor from Terminator 2. Number 7. The Mansion incident is often remembered for the losses suffered by stars, but beyond them, the true scale of death was staggering. Records suggest there were about 98 total victims of the outbreak, a mix of civilians, Umbrella employees, researchers, guards, maintenance staff, and test subjects. The first known civilian victim was a young woman of just 20 years old, whose death was reported in a local newspaper and initially blamed on wild animal attacks. Number 8. In the cemetery directly behind the mansion, all the tombstones have an ancient Greek text on them. One word that is on every stone translates to Chapchom in English, which is a funny reference to the game's developer, Capcom. Number 9. The grotesque chimera enemies were initially designed to be even more disturbing. In early versions, these creatures could drop from the ceiling and decapitate players outright. This mechanic was tested but eventually removed, either due to balance issues or concerns about censorship. In the final game, chimeras still attack from above, but without the instant kill. Even toned down, they remain one of the most unsettling enemies in the entire mansion. Number 10. In early drafts of the remake storyline, Enrico Marini, captain of the STARS Bravo team, was planned to team up with Jill and Chris to help bring down Wesker. Ultimately, Capcom chose a darker direction, reducing Enrico to a tragic victim and ensuring Wesker's betrayal remained central. Number 11. Chris's knife holster is barely held together by green tape. Unlike most STARS members, Chris chose not to use the standard knives, and instead kept his knife from his Air Force days. Thus, its holster has extreme wear and tear from years of use. Number 12. We often think of the Spencer Mansion as a massive, labyrinth-like structure, but the actual number of rooms is surprisingly modest. Excluding hidden areas and the underground facilities, the mansion itself contains exactly 28 rooms. Each of them, however, is designed with such care and layered with so much detail that the environment feels much larger. Number 13. Green herbs don't always heal for a fixed amount. Instead, their effectiveness changes depending on your condition. At caution, they heal about 25% of health, but at danger, they'll restore 40% instead. There's also a 50% chance of the herb healing for the higher effect instead. Number 14. The zombies in this game were designed to reflect traces of their former human lives through details like skin tone, torn clothing, bloodstains, and wounds. To achieve realistic gore, Shinji Mikami and his team studied animal meat and even dressed themselves in zombie-like clothing smeared with fake blood as reference material. Early concepts went further, including ideas to show internal organs spilling from dismembered zombies. These were ultimately rejected to avoid pushing the game towards an adult-only rating. Number 15. After activating the elevator in the underground lab, players may encounter something unusual, being a red-colored hunter lurking in the hallway. This variant is stronger than its counterparts and stands out due to its unique coloration. Its appearance is rare and has never been fully explained, making it one of the game's lingering mysteries. Number 16. One of Resident Evil's most famous puzzles revolves around Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, but if you inspect the music sheets in the remake closely, you'll see a subtle misprint. The title is written as Moonlight Sonata. Whether this was an intentional misspelling or a mistake is still unknown to this day. Number 17. Inside one of the mansion's bedrooms, players can find a chilling suicide note dated June 22nd, 1998. Now what makes this so haunting is the timeline, because the outbreak in the Arklay Mountains began on May 27th. That means the individuals who wrote this note managed to survive in the mansion for nearly a month before finally succumbing to despair. Number 18. One of the most striking facts about the remake is just how much of the mansion was changed. While it feels familiar at first glance, only about 30% of the layout actually matches the original game. Entire wings were rebuilt, new areas were added, and the flow of the mansion was redesigned so that it was directly connected to the underground labs. Number 19. In early builds of the game, hunters were far more brutal. Just like in the 1996 game, they had an attack where they could decapitate the player instantly. This gruesome move was left intact during testing, but by the time of release, it had been removed, possibly due to censorship or heightened difficulty. Regardless, it's crazy to imagine how much more terrifying the hunters could have been. Number 20. During development, Capcom experimented with a weapon that seemed completely out of place in a world of survival horror, being a laser rifle. Known simply as the tentative laser, this weapon appeared in prototype builds and was used internally to test particle effects, lighting, and collision detection. It was never actually meant to be included in the final game. In fact, Capcom's own official website at the time showed brief footage of the weapon being fired, with a clear disclaimer reminding fans that it wasn't a part of the finished product. The weapon even used the flamethrower's animations as a placeholder in the trial edition, which only added to its strange, unfinished look. Number 21. Among Chris's alternate costumes, one carries a surprising Hollywood connection. His rugged, casual outfit is modeled after Brad Pitt's character in the film The Mexican. Number 22. In the room with the ceiling trap, there is what looks to be an uncolored umbrella logo in the center of the floor. Number 23. One of the strangest development changes concerns the door loading screens. The GameCube hardware was powerful enough that Capcom initially planned to remove them entirely, but during testing, players felt the pacing of exploration was negatively impacted without them. The doors, with their slow creaks and heavy atmosphere, had become iconic. Capcom listened, and the feature was eventually restored. Number 24. In the original GameCube version of the remake, the disc readers in the labs were modeled after actual GameCube consoles. It was a clever bit of self-promotion and a subtle reminder of the game's exclusivity. However, once the HD remaster was released years later, the GameCube models were replaced with generic designs, removing this slight nod to the Nintendo's console. Number 25. So you can actually find out who the traitor was early on. Wesker's gun model makes a unique sound when fired that is completely different from the other STARS members. It is hearable during the intro of the game when he shoots at the infected dogs, and in the residence when he shoots at the bees right before crossing paths with Jill or Chris. Number 26. As we know, this game introduced the new Crimson Head enemy, zombies that revive and are stronger and more violent if not burned or decapitated. But what's fascinating though is how Capcom tied them into the broader lore. The Crimson Head is considered the second stage of zombie mutation. The third stage was represented by the Regis Liquor in Resident Evil Outbreak, and the final stage would evolve into the liquors we know from Resident Evil 2. In other words, Crimson Heads weren't just a gameplay mechanic, they were a missing evolutionary link, bridging the design of early zombies with later bioweapons. Number 27. This game has quite a few secret costumes for Chris and Jill that didn't make the final cut. Some of the more interesting ones include an agent costume for Jill, business outfits, and cowgirl costumes. Chris's scrapped outfits include gang member attire, a karate costume, and biker outfits. Number 28. Despite its critical acclaim and status today as one of the greatest horror games of all time, the remake was actually a commercial disappointment at launch. Because it was locked as a GameCube exclusive, sales never reached the numbers Capcom hoped for. The GameCube's smaller install base, paired with its family-friendly image, made it an awkward home for a mature, violent survival horror game. Critics hailed it as a masterpiece, fans adored it, but financially, it was considered a misstep. Number 29. The GameCube version of this game includes a glitch that quickly became infamous among players. By manipulating the item box in a very specific way, it is possible to duplicate grenade launcher ammunition endlessly. With infinite acid, flame, or explosive rounds, Jill can tear through the game without fear of resource management, a feature that completely breaks the balance of survival horror. Number 30. Originally, Jill's standard uniform in the remake was going to be all black. This fit her role as a tactical special ops officer, making her look sleek, stealthy, and professional. However, the design team ultimately scrapped this look, deciding that it made Jill look too sexy and distracted from the tone they were aiming for. Instead, they returned her to a muted blue design, closer to the original. Interestingly, some official action figures of Jill still depict her wearing the black uniform, offering fans a glimpse of the version that could have been. Click this video here to uncover some secrets you missed in Resident Evil 2 Remake. Thanks for watching.